The Blokebusters podcast is proud to be a member of the Pod Bros Network. You can find us, as well as other fantastic podcasts such as Pencil and Ink Review, Another Damn Trivia Show, and The Language of Bromance at podbros.com, as well as on most other fine podcasting services. Now sit back, relax, and prepare to share and enjoy the Blokebusters podcast.
Feel the rhythm, feel the rhyme. Get those earbuds in, it's Blokebusters time. Cool runnings! Welcome to episode 91 of the Blokebusters podcast. I'm Brian.
And I'm Paul.
And Paul was just surprised with that intro.
I'm not necessarily surprised.
Well, just surprised at my delivery, perhaps.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Okay, I did not intend to do an offensive Jamaican accent. It kind of just slipped in there, so apologies for that insensitive nature there. But yes, regardless. As you may have gathered by all the clues in front of you, we are covering Cool Runnings.
Yeah.
Paul, how did we get to this point?
How did we get to this point?
So not in the grand scheme of things, but this episode.
Yes. Well, this episode, we are recording this on Thursday night, the 27th of July. On Tuesday night, I watched Cool Runnings and then texted Brian saying, "Hey, I think this would be fun to do."
Yes.
Yeah.
I would like you to know the effort that went into as I check here, making this happen, because I was on a very tight schedule Wednesday morning and then evening. But I spent Wednesday morning getting ready, pulling it up on Netflix on my phone, walking in and out of my bathroom into the bedroom, and I got about 40 minutes knocked out that way. Watched about 10 minutes in my car. And watched about another half hour on the iPad, and then I finished up like the last few minutes on the TV. So maybe that's how much I love Doug Eat Doug. That's how much
Well, let's go over the nuts and bolts of this then real quick. First of all, our nuts and bolts, obviously. You can follow us on Twitter at Blokebusters, facebook.com/Blokebusters. You can email us blokebusterpodcast@gmail.com. We're on Instagram, Blokebusters, and we have our website, blokebusters.webs.com. And the nuts and bolts of the film, this was directed by John Turtletaub. I'm fairly certain I'm saying that name right, and if not, sod it, that's his name now. The budget of $14 million, and it made $154,856,263 US. So did quite well.
I would say so. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Turtletaub has had some pretty high grossing films. So yeah, just take a look at the National Treasure numbers. So
yeah, probably his. I would say his biggest hits.
They're producers on those, but yeah.
Yeah, still. And he was also connected to The Sorcerer's Apprentice, which I actually enjoyed. So apparently he's just connected to Nick Cage occasionally. I don't know.
As we all dream to be.
Yeah. So yes, Cool Runnings. Now this film, I figured we would cover this at the beginning, just to kind of get it out of the way. For any people that don't know, this film was loosely based on the events of the formation of the first Jamaican bobsled team. And when I say loosely based, the characters that are in the film are not named after the original team. The coach didn't exist. He actually a series of coaches. The organization that's the governing body is not called what it is in the film.
Yeah.
The competition that they went to, everyone basically greeted them with open arms, and another team even lent them their sled so they didn't have to buy one.
But that doesn't make for a good movie, Paul.
No, it does not. I did want to take.
What would you say is more factually accurate? Cool Runnings or Braveheart?
Cool Runnings.
Cool Runnings. Okay. So at least they beat Braveheart. Okay.
Yes.
That is the low mark for
Exactly.
accurate historical films. Yeah.
Yes. I did want to just quickly mention the names of the people that were the original team. Dudley Stokes, Devon Harris, Michael White, Freddie Powell, and a last-minute addition, Chris Stokes. So that was the name of the original team, rather than, as we have in here, Doris Bannock, Sanka Coffey, Junior Bevel, and Yul Brenner.
I mean, Sanka Coffey is just so ridiculously on the nose. It's such a horrible joke that I really love it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And obviously,
ask your grandmothers if you don't get it. Yes, they will understand Sanka Coffey.
Yeah. So yes, the film, very different from real life, but I wanted to cover that at the beginning. That's out the way. If you want to look into the actual story, feel free to look it up on your own time. From here on in, we are just covering the 1993 film Cool Runnings and everything that happens in that. So there we go.
All right.
I mentioned the characters' names already. Leon Robinson plays Doris, Dougie Doug plays Sanka, Rawl D. Lewis is Junior, and Malik Yoba is Yul Brenner, and of course John Candy as Irvin Blixer. So
yeah, I mean, talk about on the nose names. Yeah, Yul Brenner. Yeah, and it's something that passed me by the first time I watched this when I was a lot younger because I didn't know who Yul Brenner was. But, that look, yeah. John
when he said it, just Yul Brenner.
All right then, yeah.
So, we probably should start with what was your first ever viewing of this? How did you?
I would have to believe. I mean, I don't have a concrete memory, but I'd have to believe this is another. You know what? This is probably like something that was just shown on TV, probably in like 94, 95, however long things took to get it on TV. And,
at least a year back then.
Yeah. And so I'm sure I watched it, then, and I was a pretty big John Candy fan. In my youth, still am. So that was probably my first exposure to it, and walked around St. Ein's Vine Drying, until it annoyed everyone. But yeah, that was it for me. When did you first run across it?
Well, I think it pretty much the same thing where it was definitely on TV. I did not go to the cinema to see this. I would have been 6 when it was released in the States. I don't know what it was released in the UK, and I doubt my parents would have taken me to see it. And I'm sure I will hear from my mum once she hears this to say, no, we did take you to see it. What are you talking about? But yes, I remember seeing this on TV, and this was my introduction to John Candy.
Oh, what an intro. Yeah.
Okay. Like I said, I would have been, let's say I saw it on TV again a year or so after, I would have been 7 or 8. So, I hadn't seen Plane, Trains, and Automobiles at 8 years old.
No, Uncle Buck?
I have never seen Uncle Buck, actually. I know, it's one of those films that I know I should see, but it was never on TV. It was never on TV when I was growing up, and it just I don't think I've seen it on Netflix or anything. So I haven't actively sought it out just because, as you know now, there's just too much stuff to watch. I need a schedule.
You have not seen Home Alone?
I've seen Home Alone, but I don't remember if I saw that first or not.
Okay, all right.
As I say, again, Home Alone, I did see it in the cinema, so it really would have been whatever was on TV when I had TV in my bedroom. Gotcha. And I don't remember when that was, so...
Okay, yeah. It's tough for me to put... Yeah, I think probably Uncle Buck was my first John Candy. Or you know what, it was probably The Great Outdoors, because my dad really liked that movie.
Right.
Yeah, it's probably The Great Outdoors, but yeah, that's another good one. How great was it to see John Candy? I haven't watched a John Candy movie in probably close to a decade.
Right.
maybe not that long, but it feels like a very long time.
Yeah.
And it was really good to see him on screen again. Yeah, kind of bittersweet, of course, very bittersweet.
Yes, very much so.
Because he never ever lost his comedic sensibility, like maybe some other people I won't call out that he's worked with, but or maybe not worked with, but of that ilk. So yeah. But yeah, what were your impressions revisiting this?
Well, to be honest, revisiting this, watching it, I was just sitting upstairs, watched it all in one sitting, so I didn't quite have the choppy nature that you had.
I waited for scene breaks at least, you know.
Well, yeah. You didn't.
I'm not an animal, Paul.
No, yes, you didn't cut it in the middle of their run. Like, I'll just pause it here.
Nothing exciting happening right now.
I would have to say that my impression watching it again is, for me, it hasn't diminished since the first time I saw it, because I don't know if it's just like I enjoy the characters as much as I did back then, or if it was just the fact that it was John Candy. Like, I don't know. I pretty much had the same reaction to it as the last few times I've seen it. So it was no diminishing return for me.
How many times would you say you've seen this? Under 10? Over 10?
I would say, like, watching this all the way through, I'd say if not 10, close to it.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's and I know, when I first saw it, I definitely saw it at least twice within a year. But it's been a while since I've seen this. Okay. So
this is probably only maybe my third or fourth complete viewing of it. I mean, it's one of those things that if you had cable or whatever growing up, you watch half an hour of or whatever, switch to something else, or watch a few scenes. But yeah, completion probably only about three times or so. But I'd agree. Yeah, I was a little apprehensive. I'm like, Disney. Am I going to really enjoy this as much, or was I just a dumb kid? Yeah. I wasn't a kid, but I still really, really enjoyed this watch. Even it broken up into bits and pieces. I didn't write down. I wish the way I had to watch it, I didn't get to take all the notes I wanted to, but I really wish I could have written down some more of the one-liners, but there are some good ones in here. And not just, like, Candy doesn't get all the love there. Like, it's spread out pretty well amongst the cast.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. In fact, I think my favorite bit in it is when Doris is trying to convince Sanka to join the team. Mm-hmm. And he's just like, who is the greatest pushcart racer in all of Jamaica? Me. So you're going to do it? No. Just like...
yeah.
That line reading by him is just fantastic.
I think the one that always gets me is when... Junior is on the other side of the hotel door and Yul Brenner says, whatever is wrong with you, it is no small thing.
Yeah, and it definitely my dark sense of humor was appealed to with John Candy when they're showing the film, trying to get people to join, and he's just said, "Oh yes, your bones will not break in a bobsled. No, they shatter." It's so perfect deadpan by John Candy. And I was actually going to say, I think that when I was watching this film, there's only one or two moments where he's genuinely kind of pushing the comedic side of it, and the rest of it, he's being very straight. Like, and it not quite Leslie Nielsen levels, but like kind of there. So I think the only time that I felt it was sort of John Candy, there was no script, he was just told to go with it, is when you first see him in front of the radio. And he's just like, go on, Tumbleweed, go on. Like, no, don't do that. Come on.
Yeah. So yeah, this film obviously is very, very 90s.
Yes, if you couldn't tell by the clothing, let alone anything
the clothing, the soundtrack, the Jamaican-inspired soundtrack or Rastafarian, I suppose, soundtrack. Just I mean, we'll get there, but the lion dancing, my God, the lion dancing. Yes, I'm sad to say I will admit this on the podcast. I have indeed line danced at some point in my life. So, yeah.
Is there any video evidence of this?
Oh, dear God, I hope not.
I think to the internet.
Of all the awful things I've done way worse, but that would be probably the thing I'd be maybe most embarrassed about ever seen that day. So, yeah. I mean, everybody had to do the electric slide, which was, that's part of growing up in my hometown, and you had to know that.
Well, I will take your word for it. I don't believe that made its way to England.
Well, you might be all the better for it.
Yes. So yes, very, very 90s, and I actually don't think that was a detriment to the film. I
mean, it didn't age it as much as I thought it would.
No, I think there's almost no other way they could have made the film. If they'd made it now, I don't think it would have worked as well. It was almost as if the film, as it is, was made just right, which is kind of weird because 3 out of the 4 main characters have gone on record to say that this was intended to be a serious film when it was shipped and put towards everyone. It was going to be a serious film about the formation of a Jamaican bobsled team. I don't know if it was going to be 100% true or if the characters were the same. It was just going to be serious, but it's a good thing it didn't go that route.
well, when I said that the real events wouldn't have made for a good movie, that implied made by Disney as a comedy.
Yeah,
I do see either a really good doc. I don't know. Do you know if there's a documentary that exists about this?
I have not heard of one.
Okay, but I could see a really good documentary being made about this or a drama about this.
Yeah.
And I think that if written well, I think could have been very, very good. But as it stands, the comedy version I'm more than happy with. So
I'm genuinely not sure where we want to go with this then. So obviously
Well, I don't know. Do we want to? I mean, obviously, if you're listening to this, you've probably seen the film before. So
I would imagine so.
Yeah. But yeah. So essentially, I don't know if we want to go over any of the plot, but yeah, the Junior kind of ruins a sprint race essentially. And Q bobsled team, some training in Jamaica, and then we go to Canada. I mean, this movie moves fast.
It does. It moves very fast.
Like an hour 34. So, I don't know. Not even sure.
I think it's
94 minutes maybe.
I think it's an hour and 40 something,
30.
but that's with credits. So
98. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we are at the Olympics in I don't know, maybe half an hour or pretty quick.
Yeah, pretty much. So it's very clear that they wanted the film to be about them actually being at the Olympics. So it was a very fast beginning, but I wouldn't say it necessarily as you're watching it. It doesn't feel like, come on, quick, we got to get this over with. I mean, because there's enough of the character development in there to give you something to enjoy while it's doing it.
Yeah, so that's at least watching now this time I was like, wow, Coach Irv took a hard line against not doing this and then was very easily convinced into a redemption arc. So
yes.
No, get out of here. This poster bothering you? Well, I'll rip off this poster. All right, I'll do it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Oh, your dad? Okay, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, and I always took that to be that he'd given up on ever making it work, and all he really needed was one person to come to him and say, no, I'm willing to make it work. And that was just enough there. It was just yeah, he was just depressed.
Probably all of the other barflies were like, thank God I could not hear another bobsled story about how great things used to be and those gold medals that got taken away. Spoiler.
Yes, and the bartender was very happy you didn't need to keep replacing the radio.
Yes, very true.
But yeah, I'd say like very quick to get to Canada. Although you did kind of breeze past like possibly the best song in the film that kind of gets a revival later. It's Sanka's song about Jamaica. They have a bobsleigh team.
Oh yeah, we have a bobsled team. Yeah,
yeah, the most catchy song in the entire film, I think.
Apparently, does not lend itself to a lot of monetary contributions, but
no, it does not. Well, he's given $1 to shut up, so there you go.
That is true. So yeah, not totally ineffective, but yeah.
Which is actually kind of funny because then when they ask him how much he made, it's like $1.16. So he only made 16 cents just singing the song normally.
Yeah. And I do like the kissing booth fundraiser. That was good.
Yeah, I believe that's something that doesn't really exist anymore.
Yeah, not totally probably a cool thing to do anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, the one thing I thought was a little odd in the film is the whole junior situation.
The whole father son. Yeah.
I mean,
it was a little shoehorned in.
A little bit, and it was kind of reminding me of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I mean, you can take it either way since I know they're about the same time. But the whole thing of kind of Uncle Phil and Carlton, if Carlton didn't really want to be as goody two shoes as he is in the thing, so it kind of did feel just stereotypical. Oh, rich boy doesn't want to follow in his father's footsteps type thing, but I did enjoy seeing him come into his own later in the film, so I guess I was kind of willing to forgive it since it's in the first 30 minutes, it is over and done with very quickly.
Yeah, and it's very apparent after having heard that, the real life events didn't carry as much conflict, as the film, that obviously hurdles had to be in place for a script. So
very much so.
You have the father-son thing, you have the East Germans and the Russians, and you have what's his name, Kurt, I think, the dick on the Olympic board or whatever.
Yes.
You got him. You got fighting a sled. When one was given to them. So yeah. So all of these things had to be put in place. So you felt that there were some stakes. So I get that. But the whole junior father thing got a bit tired. But I mean, that's just being a little nitpicky. So
yeah, I mean, I think if I was going to change anything, it would just be not necessarily that the dad is forcing him to take the job, but that the dad is unwilling to give him any support. It's entirely you're on your own with this, which would I feel that would make the whole selling the car a little bit more of a big thing, because in the film it's more just kind of like, oh, I'm rebelling against my father. Whereas if it was just, I'm not helping you, he's then selling pretty much the only thing he has to sell to get them to the Olympics. So I feel like that would land a bit better. But hey, I wasn't the scriptwriter in 1992, so there you go.
Well, you weren't writing film scripts at 6.
I was not. No.
What a waste. All right.
Yeah, I wonder how that would have come out. 6-year-old me writing a Jamaican bobsled film.
You know what? I'm sure we've probably reviewed some worse movies with worse scripts. So whatever that would be, or equal. Let's say equal.
There you go. And I can think of one, but I'm not going to say its name out of respect at this point. So there you go.
Oh, do you know who wrote Mordecai? I don't know who wrote Mordecai.
Yeah,
All right.
That was
that
you.
is our Teachers of Mordecai. Ah, damn it. There's 3. Okay. All right. You're over budget on that film's references. Let's move
Yes,
on.
exactly.
All right. So we get to Canada. Obviously, they are, well, not welcome so much in this scenario.
Yeah, and I felt as though it was more. There's like 2 or 3 teens. It was almost a schoolyard thing of like you got a couple of bullies that are like, we don't like you around here, and the rest of the guys are just sort of like, we'll just stand on the side and not say anything.
Yeah, I mean, you have the Russians, you have the East Germans, you have the Swiss that get into a little bit of the action. Mainly your villains are like the East Germans, and I guess to a lesser extent the Russians. The Canadians are kind of showcased at one point. I think they're the initial like show point, like, oh look, they got their shit together. Well, yeah, they're Canadians, and this is bobsledding. I would hope so.
Yes.
Yeah, I did have to think about like just Terrence and Phillip bobsled team, like that would be great, but yeah. You don't belong here. Yeah.
Yeah, that they would get down to the bottom in about 30 seconds just with fart power alone.
Power with the parts, yes. Pull my finger. Yeah. All right.
Dear.
I think that is my first attempt at a Terrence and Phillip impression, so I'm sorry. You know, so good with voices.
Yes, if I were not downstairs at night with my wife and baby upstairs, I would attempt a Terrence and Phillip impression. But
we'll just have to imagine, folks.
Yeah, it's kind of not possible to do Terrence and Phillip without raising your voice.
Yeah, very true.
So yeah, I did enjoy watching the actual sledding in this. And you actually do get to see some real bobsledding going on. And I even said to my wife as I was watching it, I would love to do that at some point. And the response was, no. So,
You're a father now. No.
Yes, I don't think I'm allowed to be in a bobsled. She also rightly pointed out I probably wouldn't fit in one, but that's another. Yeah, maybe I'll do the luge instead.
Yeah, that's just you. Yeah.
Yeah, just me on basically a tray with some ice skates on the bottom of it. There you
go. Yeah, no thanks. Yeah, I have no desire to ever attempt this, and don't know why anyone would. But that's being a death capsule with very little control over our fate. Okay, but I don't know. I don't know shit about bobsled, so apparently you probably have a lot more control than I think. But
I believe you do, but you do need to be good. There's very little room for error, but obviously that's part of the thrill for some people too. So
yeah, shout out. I don't have the actors' names, but shout out to the broadcasters in this film because it did feel authentic. I mean, I've sat through some Winter Olympic content. Can't always be the most exciting thing, but
yeah.
But yeah, like it seemed like very, very true to how it might actually go. But
yeah, very on par to Jane Marsden in Tour de Pharmacy.
Oh my God. Watch Tour de Pharmacy, people, if you haven't seen it yet. If you have, watch again. Skip the Lance Armstrong bits because fuck Lance Armstrong. But other than that, it's great.
Yeah.
All right. Yes, moving on.
Yes, moving back.
So, where would you like to head next? Any other scenes you wanted to highlight, or?
Well, I was trying to think what in this film is really worth shining a light on, and I was actually thinking that this film is one of the best examples I've seen of showing people coming together in a way that they don't necessarily actually like each other at the end, but they all respect each other and are a team by the end of it. And I've really enjoyed seeing that. I find that sometimes in film when you've got people that you have the typical film dynamic of, oh, we don't like each other, oh no, we're all on a team together, and by the end they're all like, "Hey, we're best friends," like, and it always feels really forced. But I felt this film did very well at showing little things of the people that don't necessarily like each other teaching each other and starting to respect each other.
Yeah,
like you have Yul Brenner and Junior
exactly
bonding at the bar and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, like I highly doubt like when they get back to Jamaica that Yul Brenner and Junior are going to be hanging out at the bar every night together,
no.
or on the beach or anything. But they will be friendly and of course respect each other. They've gone through something quite monumental in this film at least. But
and they'll be back again for the next Olympics. Like they'll clearly still work as a team and work to get better. I really did enjoy seeing that throughout the film because, as I said, I feel like it's not handled that great in some films because it's almost like a foregone conclusion that they just have to get together. Like they have to work at the end, so they just do. And it wasn't as heavy-handed in this.
No, there was no a little bit of that in the finale, but with the carrying of the sled, but there was no jumping up and down and guess to the nature of the events that happened. Yeah. I mean, there wasn't a whole lot to celebrate. They were probably suffering from severe concussions.
Yes.
And needed medical attention.
Not
a whole lot of jumping up and down and hugging to be had.
No, I read a thing about the actual crash. At least one of the people in the crash didn't realize that they had crashed until they could smell the helmet friction burning on the ice.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, it was they felt a bump, but it was only when they smelled that they realized that's not right and that they must not be in the right position. I don't know if you knew about this as well. I don't know how much of it they use, but they did use genuine footage of the crash in the film.
Yeah, you could tell when it's cut into the real footage. The film stock is different, and I don't know if I ever noticed that before because I don't think I've seen this film maybe as an adult, probably.
Right. Yeah.
So I definitely noticed that. Ooh, yeah, I'm like, I think that's authentic film coverage. And yep, I'm pretty sure it is. So.
Yeah. And it was just when it's like the TV coverage that's the actual crash, and supposedly they did a fair amount of creative editing to make sure that it lined up with what they filmed. So obviously they filmed around that, but they had to do several quick cuts and stuff to make it fit the narrative a little better, as it were.
I thought it was it was edited pretty well together, I thought. Even though I noticed it was not the same quality as the rest of the film, but it flowed pretty nicely. So
really well, and maybe again that could just be because of how quickly it's edited. Like it's not something that you're able to dwell on for too long, which is probably the best way to go about it, I think.
Absolutely, yeah. Agreed.
Yeah, you don't want to be staring at inferior quality footage for 5 seconds and go, that doesn't look right. But,
yeah. Now, I did want to bring attention just to maybe one of my favorite scenes. You kind of alluded to it earlier. Back to the honky tonk. Canada, I guess, is famous for their honky tonks. I don't know. Sure, yes. Why not?
Yeah,
let's go as far north as we can go, and let's have it as southern as we can be.
In that famous, cowboy bar in Calgary. I'm surprised you don't know about it.
Absolutely, I'm out of the loop here. But it's one of those scenes that always stuck with me. Of Yul Brenner psyching up Junior in the bathroom.
Yeah.
I just love that scene because this is someone who had a legitimate shot of going to the Olympics to be a sprinter. Yeah. As well as Therese, did as well. We didn't really get to see how good Junior was other than falling in that race, but So he has every right to never speak to this person again,
Yep.
and to not take him under his wing, so to speak. But because we've seen that kind of situation before, just like the superior athlete, or however you want to look at it, just no, sorry, I don't have the time of day for you. You got to learn this stuff on your own. I'm not here. I can't baby you. But no, and I don't know if it's part of him, like it's a teaming. I need him to be good, or I need him to get some confidence, or part of it's just I legitimately can't watch this, and he needs to stand up for himself. And but I just love that scene. I see pride, I see power, and of course, since it's a Disney film, I see a badass mother who don't take no crap off of nobody. Yeah.
And then just a wonderful slight comedy edge when he walks out and he's just like, where's he going? Like, I thought we were just in here.
No, I didn't mean. Oh yeah, like get some confidence up, but that guy will straight up murder you. Do not approach him.
Yeah. It's like, now you have the confidence for next time.
Yes, next time but let's practice on your comebacks a little bit, because they're a little weak at the moment.
Yes. And it was an excellent thing where he goes straight up to the guy. And it's like, you don't talk to me.
Yes. You don't talk to me like Joseph Gruel.
And then the guy's like, or else what? And then he's immediately just like, shit. This is as far as I was planning.
Planned this, yes.
I expected good day.
Yes,
sir.
oh yes, goody. You are back behind me. Thank you, Yul. Thank you, big man.
It's really cool just to see some of the interactions, and I feel like the actors themselves must have got on really well to be able to pull some of this stuff off.
Yeah, and I don't think we need to shed a little bit of love on, as he's just known on IMDb, Leon. Doris, gets to play the straight man for most of the film, but does it very well. And he's a big part of the heart of this movie.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah. So his arc is a pretty good one. And I really appreciated that this time around.
Yeah, it was really cool to see, like, especially just how much everything built up at the beginning of the film, when it's like, this is my moment, this is my time to shine, and it's just like, nope, okay, now gotta, like, any way possible get ourselves to the Olympics. And it's so cool to see him as a character have this giant arc. He's just so in awe of the Olympics that I think he's still in a little bit of denial until 2/3 of the way through the film, because he is just very much just like, come on, we're here, we're in the Olympics. And of course, just when they're getting dressed down after the fight, and he just goes, when the Swiss... I think that's when he finally starts to realize, oh, no, I'm just idolizing this whole thing, and it's like, I'm not being myself here. So.
Oh, yeah. I do need to ask you, and this kind of occurs at the maybe 2/3 mark, because this might be a unique experience to yourself, with your cultural landmarks, and you know where I'm going with this. The whole Yul Brenner wanting to live in the Buckingham Palace. So, like that, as a very, very young child, that meant nothing to me.
Right.
That, okay, so that looks like a pretty nice house. What's wrong with him wanting to live there? And, maybe I should have been better educated. I don't know. But, so I'm assuming you were aware that, or in on the joke immediately on that, the first time you ever watched this?
The very first time I watched it, maybe not, because... I would have watched it on the old, definitely not flat screen TV, where the quality might not have been great. So I wouldn't have had the best image to go off of.
So it could have just looked like any mansion. Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah. And like even now watching it, I knew that it was Buckingham Palace because I remembered the joke of it being Buckingham Palace, and it was only when I saw it again I was like, oh yeah, that's it. But yeah, it's definitely one of those things where I think even once Sanka goes, that's Buckingham Palace, like I immediately went to, well, yes, but he's clearly saying he wants to live in England. Oh no, he wants to live in Buckingham Palace, doesn't he? It's very quick.
Oh no, yes, you're gonna have to marry the Queen to live there.
Yeah, because it's clear he just wants to get off the island. So it really did seem like look here, London. I'm going to live somewhere else. It's like no, he wants to live in that room he's pointing to.
So, I mean, I know outside of its resorts and the Apple areas, Jamaica has, some issues, or had at least, there. But are you really going to trade? I'm sorry, Paul. Here, are you really going to trade Jamaica's climate for London's? I mean,
if you're,
I guess if you get to live in Buckingham Palace, yes, I guess that's a proper trade-off.
Yeah, and they have proper air conditioning there. Like it can
True,
be whatever
true,
climate you want.
Yeah, yeah, like John Kennedy says, it's the humidity that'll get you.
Yes. Yeah, I could probably just keep talking about John Candy's role in this.
It's really good. I mean, we also need to talk about his big speech at the end. I mean, he really does, or did, sadly, have some dramatic acting chops.
Yeah.
Maybe not as good as some other comedic actors, but still, I think, really, really on par. And, talking about what every athlete dreams of, the right to represent their country. They've earned that. How can you deny them this? It's a good scene. Like there's no jokes. It belongs in this movie, and it works really, really well. And he nails it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so he does ride a real roller coaster throughout the film, where when they're qualifying and they're waiting for the time. And just his celebration in the tower once it comes in, it's just I was thinking about it earlier. I think you need to be someone that understands comedy to do that reaction properly, because
absolutely,
because he's just so just whoa, and he's shaking the person, but it's there's just something inherently funny in the way he reacts, and he's just kind of okay, goodbye, yeah. It's so cool to see, and obviously still a little bittersweet while watching it, just knowing that I think this was the last film released before his death. I know he did a couple more after he made this one, but this was the last one to come out. I guess the last one to finish post-production before he died.
Okay, because there was shoot, I'm blanking on the name right now, but there was it almost. I'm blanking on the names, but so he died in '94. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But
Canadian Bacon is what I was thinking of. Yeah, mm-hmm. Came out in '95. Yeah,
and
Wagons East. Yeah,
and supposedly he was going to be in Pocahontas, but then they scrapped it. I don't know if they just hadn't recorded enough or something. I don't know, but
43. All right, I'm getting sad. We got to change. 43. God damn it, John Candy. All right.
Yeah. His character, like I said at the beginning, there's very little real humor coming from him. It's all just his character's straight-laced, annoyed reaction to a lot of things is where the humor comes from.
Yeah, just like for instance, I think their first time when he's going to push them down the course, the bobsled course in Canada, and Sanka says he has to pee. Hold it.
Yeah, hold it.
We're not bobsledding yet. We're about to. I mean, there's nothing inherently jokey, but the interaction between the two just plays so well off each other. So I mean, he's not just cutting up the scene, or chewing it up, or cracking one-liners, but it's just how they play together that really kind of, makes it so enjoyable.
Yeah, and then of course with that first run where there's just the entire way down, Sanka is just yelling at Therese how much he hates him.
Yeah.
Yes, wonderfully done. I feel like I would almost like to see this film never remade.
Oh yeah,
because I like.
They'll get to it eventually, I bet.
Yeah,
Go ahead. Sorry.
I don't know who. It's the same as they're doing the live action Aladdin. Like they've got cards for it and all that, and it's like I feel really sorry for Will Smith because he's going to be playing the genie. That is
for more whitewashing, but okay.
Yeah, that is just he is going to be fighting the biggest uphill battle in the world because he's replacing Robin Williams, and
I mean, I don't think this will be the case, but to play devil's advocate, that was said about Heath Ledger, when he got the job as the Joker. So.
Yeah, now I understand.
But do I think he's going to give a Heath Ledger performance? No, I do not.
Yeah. well,
that's the Joker. Yeah.
That's actually something that I mentioned to someone at work today. I understand that it got echoes of Heath Ledger over Jack Nicholson or Jack Nicholson over Cesar Romero and stuff like that when it comes to the Joker. But I genuinely believe that Robin Williams as the genie, there is no topping that. I don't think it's a subjective thing. I think it's an objective thing. There is no one else in the world that could have done that.
They should just cut in the animated footage of Robin Williams.
Well, that's what I was thinking. Just have Will Smith play the genie. That's fine. But use only the dialogue from Aladdin. Just cut that in. Whatever. That's a discussion for another time.
Okay.
But yeah, I think that this film, and yeah, I would like to think that Disney isn't going to bother with a remake of Cool Runnings. That there's not enough of a.
I don't know if there's enough interest with it being a Jamaican bobsled movie from 1993.
Yeah, I think the only way it would become an idea again would be if Jamaica won the bobsled at the Olympics, and they'll go, oh.
Well, yeah, Cool Runnings too. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Cooler Runnings.
Yeah, maybe get them all back as cameos at the end or something
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
We need to mention one of the most 80s and 90s things about this movie. As they carry the bobsled towards the finish line and near it.
Yeah. The
slow clap! Then we got a slow clap, Paul. Oh my god, I was so happy to have a slow clap. A genuine, earnest slow clap. Not ironic.
Yep.
Here it is.
Yeah, and the dad there at the end with the Jamaica shirt.
Okay, so I have an issue with the dad. So, just kind of plot hole-ish here. Mm-hmm. So the dad is very near the finish line, right? He's standing near there.
Yeah, he's within the last
to this point. Meters. I mean, what? It probably took them a few minutes to get that sled from the crash to that point, right? It's a heavy ass sled. They're stumbling. They're concussed.
Yeah, let's assume
at least 5 minutes has passed since the crash. Does he love his son? Should he not have been running towards that crash? But he's just standing casually. I bet they're okay.
Yeah, the only, again, kind of devil's advocating, the only thing I can think of is they wouldn't allow anyone other than medical services to get onto the ice, no matter who it is.
Well, not on the ice, but to run through the crowd closer to the spot where they crashed, To not just be casually, but hey, man, this T-shirt reveal is going to be pretty sweet. I can't ruin the T-shirt reveal. I'm going to bet he's not dead.
Yeah, that's it. I'm just going to stay here because,
This is my first attempt at a joke. It can't go wrong. Yeah, so I admire his commitment to the bit, but
yes.
Come on, your kid. Look after Junior, goddammit. Maybe he wouldn't be working so hard to please you.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
yes,
yeah.
griping about Disney films. I am a bastard. Yes, I know.
Well, now, I do believe Disney films should be held to pretty much the same standards as every other film. So, yeah,
All right, I'm
like
glad we agree on that.
yeah, it's like a relatively big plot hole. Like there needs to be some sort of explanation. So yeah, I'm fine with poking that one.
Yeah, and yeah, of course, the villains could be a bit better fleshed out, but
Yes,
yeah,
but
I could have used some more some Russian baddies, but
yeah, I think the problem when it comes to there needing to be a villain of the
for
piece
Eastern.
is the same thing as in the Mighty Ducks. Really, the villain is just the other team. Like that's
Yeah.
genuinely all it can be. It's not like they have someone that's secretly trying to blow up the track. Like, it is just someone else
Now
wants to be
that
better
would have
than
been
us.
fun. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, and maybe they intentionally derail at the end to defuse the bomb in some way. Like, yeah, that could have been
Speed 3, bobsled. Yeah. Uh-huh.
a very, a very short film. That one.
Yes. Well, it's slowed down, Paul. Okay, it's like it's like 24, 1 hour, but it's like seconds or minutes. So yeah,
Yeah, it's
like it
all
could work.
inside. It's all inside the head of the people in the
Exactly.
sled.
Little inside out / speed / cool runnings. Okay. This is where my brain goes when I've been up for 17 hours. So.
Yes. And,
Yeah,
I kind of want to read some fan fiction somehow, smashing that all together. That could either be the greatest thing in the world or absolute shite.
You know what they say, Paul. If you want it, make it. So there you go.
I'm not sure I'm the right person for that job.
But how I would love to read that from you. Yeah.
Well,
Oh my goodness.
maybe in my spare time I'll figure it out.
Yes. that plentiful spare time that you have.
Yes.
It's going to be a very short story.
Yes, it is. It's basically just going to be a limerick, I think.
Well, do you have any more thoughts, comments on Cool Runnings?
The only other thing that I was thinking of mentioning is like could you sort of explain to me who Dougie Doug is / was around this time? Because I feel like he's someone that I've never heard of him before. I don't know if I've seen anything he's done since.
Really?
It just feels like he's someone that should have been a big name, and maybe just growing up in England, I just didn't know him.
Yeah, I mean, Cool Runnings is definitely where I first became aware of him.
Okay.
But he has worked with Spike Lee a couple times, I believe.
Oh.
The one is I'm going anti-IMDb here, so sorry about the pause. People are yelling at me. Mo Better Blues.
Okay.
And then he was in Jungle Fever. I know he's in Jungle Fever.
Okay.
So those are two seminal Spike Lee films. And then Cool Runnings was shortly after that. He's done a ton of TV. He's still doing a lot of TV. He pops in and out of procedurals and stuff like that. But I don't know, he's just a cool guy, just fun, and he was on the show Cosby, if not the Bill Cosby Show. Different thing. Look it up, people. 1996 to 2000.
I believe Cosby is the one that I saw, and I think.
Yeah. Named Cosby, but the character that the full name that I will not say, does not play someone named Cosby.
Right.
Yeah. So very weirdly titled. But yeah, he's in it, and very confusing because Felicia Rashad is in it as well. Check out Cosby sometime. It's not bad, but actually, you know what? F that show because F him. So,
Yeah.
And I don't mean Dougie Duck. Okay. Moving away from that issue.
Maybe someone could do. I don't know if you've ever read Garfield without Garfield, and it's just looked like John slowly going insane. Maybe you could do Cosby without Cosby, and just leave everything else intact. somehow just.
Could we like Black Mirror block him like static?
Yeah, there you go.
Just like Peanuts voice. Yeah, I think that could work.
Okay.
We still have Theo and Rudy and Cockroach to go off of. I think it'd still be okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're now talking about. I think this is a sign that we probably need to end this.
Yes. The only other thing I was going to mention is that I did put out. I understand it was short notice, but I did put out feelers on Twitter to say, "Hey, does anyone have any thoughts on Cool Runnings you would like to mention?" And I got one response from the In Session Film podcast. So great bunch of guys there. Do go listen to them. And they simply said, "One of my childhood favorites."
I agree. Holds up. I think our conclusion is holds up. Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. You have kids? I think this is a good one for the kids. Yeah. Really nothing too heavy-handed or bad that you would need to protect them from, I don't think. But, yeah.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, really, really cool. Two other real quick things I just want to mention, like outside of the film that we just talked about here. Number one is that I was recently on a podcast where I was talking about The Fifth Element with the Vern. It's called
Main
That
Man.
Moment. Yep.
BRN, Main Man.
Yeah, it's called That Moment In. Was the podcast, and that was a lot of fun. So thank you very much for having me on there. And I completely lost the other thing, so I'll have to mention it at some other time.
Ooh, a teaser. Okay.
Yes. All right. So,
thank you.
Do you have anything else that you wanted to mention before we wrap this up?
Yep. I'm good.
Okay. so yes, I hope you guys all enjoyed that very random review of Cool Runnings. And,
I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yes, exactly.
And I'll end by saying, "Bobsled, be thy name."
Yes, thy kingdom come, gold medals won.
Bobsled, be thy name. All right. I've been Brian.
And I've been Sled God.
Bye, folks.
Bye.